A top-secret Cold War project unearthed ancient fossils. During the Cold War, U.S. Army scientists planned to hide hundreds of nuclear warheads underneath the Greenland ice sheet in a covert mission known as Project Iceworm. It was 1960 and tensions were mounting between the U.S. and Soviet Union. If nuclear war broke out, the U.S. wanted to be close enough to strike the USSR with medium-range missiles. But the top-secret project was abandoned after scientists realized that the ice sheet was moving too quickly. Within 2 years, the trenches dug by the military would be destroyed. The work wasn't entirely fruitless, though, since geologists held onto samples of an ancient soil from roughly 4,500 feet below the surface of the ice. The frozen chunks were stored in glass cookie jars for 5 decades, until researchers at the University of Vermont got hold of them, thawed the chunks, and began to rinse the sediment in the lab. The researchers knew that plants couldn't grow if the ice sheet was present. So they calculated the material's age based on the rate of decay of isotopes in the soil. Their results suggested there must have been an ice-free period in the region far more recently than scientists previously realized. In a new study, they suggest that Greenland's ice sheet melted and reformed at least once in the last million years. Before that, scientists thought the current ice sheet had been around for up to 3 million years. Scientists first collected the frozen soil samples from northwestern Greenland in 1966. At the time, the samples gave researchers a never-before-seen peek at Earth's ancient climate. But in the 1960s, scientists didn't have the technology to determine the age of the soil. Now, researchers know that 2 isotopes, aluminum and beryllium, accumulate in rocks and sediment on Earth's surface when they're exposed to radiation from space. Over time, these isotopes decay. Based on the ratio of aluminum to beryllium isotopes in the samples, the researchers concluded that the plant fossils collected by Project Iceworm were between a few 100,000 and 1 million years old. Now, Greenland's ice sheet is starting to shrink again. Snowfall is already insufficient to keep up with the pace of the melting, meaning the ice sheet could disappear even if global temperatures stop rising. By the year 2100, the melted ice could raise sea levels up to 7 inches. When the fossilized plants in the samples first bloomed, the concentration of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere averaged just 230 parts per million. By the time the ice samples were taken in the mid-1960s, atmospheric concentrations of carbon dioxide exceeded 320 parts per million. Today, those concentrations have topped 410 parts per million. If the ice sheet were to melt completely again, which scientists predict could happen in the next millennium, the ocean would swallow the coasts across the globe. Wearing a face mask may limit exposure to respiratory droplets and large particles and may help prevent people who have COVID-19 from spreading the virus.